Let's take some language that was written informally, use machine learning to convert that into formal language. The way we're going to do that is we're going to use a machine learning style transformer that converts informal to formal language. We're going to deploy that model with Hugging Face Inference Endpoints, and then I'll show you how we can take that endpoint, insert it into the spreadsheet so we can call it within a formula from a spreadsheet. To get the model, I'm going to use the Hugging Face hub. Thousands of models here. I'm going to go ahead and search for informal. I've already put a model on here that converts the informal to formal. You'll see I have a model card here where I've documented exactly where the original model comes, even gives you some examples for doing it. Let's move over and talk about how we would deploy this model. On the hub, there's a couple of different deployment options. The first is the Inference API, which is good for experimental use. It's free. You can test things out. But for production work, what's recommended is Inference Endpoints, which will give us a stable endpoint. We know the model repository that we're starting from. We can choose different cloud providers here, different instance types. Whether you want a CPU or GPU, you're going to get charged by instance type and on an hourly basis. So I'll go ahead and stick here with the medium for now. Under advanced configuration, you'll see some things like auto scaling. Like if this was going to go in a spreadsheet that might go viral across the corporation, I might want to turn on auto scaling to make sure everybody could do it. You'll see the task here was automatically filled out by the hub. That's the beauty of Inference Endpoints. There's even frameworks for custom tasks and custom containers. Not going to cover that now. The last thing is the security level. I'm going to go with the traditional TLS SSL type approach. For some folks, they're worried about their data crossing the public internet. That's what private endpoints are for. Let's go ahead and create the endpoint now. All right, I did a fast forward there. Takes a minute or two, depends on the size of your model, the instance, for how long that initialization starts up. You'll see here now, we have an endpoint that we can start using and pointing predictions at. Now, we might want to test it. Let's go ahead and type in something here. Perfect. Endpoint's working. Now we've got an endpoint up and available. There's a copy as curl command. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And then let me paste that into the clipboard so you can see exactly what the curl command is. We have the endpoint and then the information here, including my API key for being able to use that endpoint. Let's grab this information. We're going to need that endpoint. Now the last part of this is let's get this working inside the spreadsheet. I'm going to come over here to my spreadsheet. For Google Sheets, the way we do this is under extensions, there's app scripts, and what we can do is we can write little scripts here to run as functions within our spreadsheet. I'm going to go ahead and paste in that new endpoint here. The script should look pretty straightforward. It's just that curl information along with a little bit of Java's code to take that final result that's out. I even use the console log, which is a little tip if you're working on this, because you can see the results right inside the browser here. So let's go ahead and we're going to I selected this function to run. We're going to just test it right here before we move over to our spreadsheet. Double check, make sure it all works. Looks like it's working okay. Now we want to do is now we want to run this formula or function inside our Google Sheets. So this is called toFormal. So we'll come over here. Let's go ahead and show you how we do this from scratch. Formal, A2, and boom. And now I'm going to just go ahead and run this against all the other ones. Give it a second here to load up. And look at that. We're able to take a huge amount of informal language, convert it to formal. This can be in a spreadsheet that we can send to anybody. They don't have to understand REST points, APIs, models. They're just able to get the result. So this is a great technique we can use in a lot of different ways. If we want to double check on what's going on our endpoint, let's click back there now. If I go over to analytics, look at that. We can see the number of requests that have come through already on this. There we go. You can see they came in 2 different batches here. Information on log setting, lots of other detailed information on inference endpoints, including docs and support. But for there, I'm going to leave you. What we did today was we had a little bit of fun turning this informal language into formal language, picked out a model on the hub, and then deployed it using the Hugging Face Inference Endpoints, put that little bit of script into a spreadsheet.